and welcome to another edition of Coffee Talk with immigration attorney Brian D. Lerner. In this particular episode, I'd like to give somewhat of an update on Trump's policies and how it is affecting the general immigration ability to come into the United States. So, as you know, he's fought up and down to try to essentially do what he calls extreme vetting and the anti-Muslim rhetoric and so forth. And the ban, at least on some of the countries, has been approved, assuming they have no U.S. ties and so forth. But the question becomes, what's going on with just normal people applying for normal types of visas that try to come into the U.S. Well, the reality is it has decreased a certain amount, and that's not because of new regulations. It's not because of new laws. It's because of Trump's policies of his extreme vetting. So what's happening, number one, is there's a lot of people out there that are fearful now to come into the United States because they think, why should they apply if they're just going to get rejected? So there's that feeling of the fact that they think there's going to be a lot more rejection, so they don't even walk in the front door. And secondly, the people who are applying are being questioned longer. The decisions are taking longer to come out. There's no rush that's being put on them. So with that in mind, a couple things. First of all, the visas still exist. And if you qualify, you shouldn't be afraid to apply. Now, that means that we have to prepare the applications even stronger than we had before, with even more evidence and even more proof, which is fine. It's just a matter of getting it done. So, for example, if you qualify for an E2 investment visa, an L1 business visa, H1B specialty occupation, O1 extraordinary ability, or even a B2 visitor, uh, you ought to make sure that it is prepared by someone who knows what they're doing, that it has all kinds of evidence and support of why you should be able to come in. And then, of course, if there's any issue regarding inadmissibility, such as past crimes, deportations, unlawful stays, fraud, tax evasion, child support, all that stuff, there's lots of waivers that are available, but certainly don't try to come into the United States and pretend your inadmissibility doesn't exist. Uh, you need to be upfront with your immigration lawyer. I can't tell you how many times people have forgotten to tell me about some past event that only comes up at the time of the interview. So if we know about it beforehand, we will do everything we can in order to try to get it so that you get approved. So that's the first thing. Don't be afraid to apply just because of the policies of Trump and the extreme vetting. We still can get these visas to go through and get approved. We still can prepare them as it needs to be done. It's like a river. You have to go with the flow. So if we have to prepare in more detail certain aspects of the particular visa application, no problem. We'll get it prepared. Now, next, if you're finding that it's taking too long to get the answer, or if they say it's an administrative processing, well then, there's ways to do a formal inquiry, and then there's even further ways of doing what's called a writ of mandate, which is basically suing Department of State and federal court and forcing them to make the decision. So that only occurs after it has exceeded the normal amount of time to make the decision. So just because they say it's an administrative processing, which, honestly, from my point of view, that's like saying it's in a black hole. Um, there are ways of getting the answers and doing the inquiries and so forth. So don't be discouraged. The immigration changes all the time. And just because the policies are anti-immigration at this point does not mean that you should not apply for what you need to, and you should not go forward and try. Just make sure it's done properly. So if you like the video, click like, subscribe, and also you can give my office a call. We give one free consultation to let you know what can be done. Okay, more in the coming videos.